Yo, what's good, YouTube, man? It's Gabe with the Fan TV, man. Back at you on the video. Like the content of this video, go and smash that like button. Also, comment down below your thoughts on the video. If you're new here, go hit the subscribe button. I want to say thank you to everybody who has been hitting that subscribe button. Get me to that 1K. I greatly appreciate it. You know, I love doing these videos, so thank you guys for subscribing. I appreciate it. All right, man, let's get into it. So, John Harbaugh, EDC, at the Combine today, had their press conferences, both about 15 minutes apiece, you know, talking about, obviously, Lamar Jackson and the draft and everything in between, right? We'll talk about Harbaugh real quick because he didn't really give much other than really kind of like coach talk, really. You know, just Lamar's my quarterback. I love Lamar. We haven't had any other thoughts other than Lamar Jackson being the quarterback. He also said that Lamar Jackson is the biggest competitor in football. He loves Lamar Jackson. This, and, you know, just on and on and on and on about that. Not really nothing that's surprising there, right? I mean, that's to be expected. You didn't expect him to say anything really else. He says that, you know, the negotiations are between Lamar and EDC. He just hopes that a deal gets done. He's on the side of the Ravens, Eric, Lamar. We're all a team. We're all together. That's the side that he's on. He's picking no side. So that's what he said pretty much. That also, you know, the offensive coordinator thing, right? When they said, you know, Lamar wasn't consulted or whatever, he said that every offensive coordinator that was thought in mind, the offense was planned around Lamar Jackson being the quarterback for that offense. So, you know, take it what you will. That's what he said. And he ended it with saying that he believes that Lamar Jackson wants to bring a Super Bowl to Baltimore, and he believes he will do that. All right, cool, right? Now, Eric Decosta, I think, was a little bit more interesting. He talked about Lamar, the draft, and did some other things as well, right? So as far as the Lamar front, he said him and Lamar have been talking recently. So that's good to hear. He said that they text a lot, you know. I get the feeling that if you see anything about Lamar on social media and things like that, I don't think he's a big phone call kind of guy. So texting probably makes a lot of sense for what they do. But, you know, they met, whatever. They're still in discussion, said he's optimistic about it, them signing a deal. All right, great. He mentions the challenges of talking to an agent versus talking to a player. Versus a player, since you have so much more respect for the player or whatever, you got to talk to them differently, I guess is what he's saying. That how I took it as, he feels like he can't be as honest in talking. That's how I took it, right? If he's talking to an agent, he can throw numbers out like, well, Lamar has this touchdown passes versus this guy, you know. He could do a more comparison thing, whereas that he's talking to Lamar directly, he doesn't want to say anything that can offend Lamar, and then now all of a sudden you've offended him, the negotiations are going left, they're going in another direction. So that's how I took it. I mean, obviously, that's kind of common sense for real, honestly. As a GM, the worst thing you could do is alienate your players. So he wants to tiptoe around that, make sure he doesn't do that. I think that's smart on his behalf. You know, if you want Lamar Jackson to be here, you gotta watch how you talk in the negotiations, and that's part of it. That's part of it. So, you know, can't get around that part. He said that another thing is interesting. He won't talk about contract specifics, right? We've seen all the kind of leaks and everything like that. He said him and Lamar came to an agreement last year that they wouldn't do that in the media. So when the media gets all these numbers out and they just throwing numbers out willy-nilly and everything like that, the Ravens are saying it's not them. Hey, I believe the Ravens have leaked stuff. I believe Lamar's done the same. It's all a part of the business, all a part of the game. You cannot find me a sports organization that doesn't lie. I know a lot of Ravens fans say that, oh, the Ravens are liars, the Ravens organization is a bunch of liars. So is pretty much every organization in sports. There are a lot of things I'm upset with the Ravens about. A lot, honestly. But them lying is not one of them. I mean, most organizations lie. They say they say one thing to the media, say one thing in press conferences, and do something else. It's all part of the game they play. If you're still mad about that, you're going to be mad about the sports organizations, every single one of them. I mean, that's just how they operate, you know, right or wrong. All right. He also said they're preparing for all contingencies. They haven't decided what tag they're going to use on Lamar, whether it's non-exclusive or exclusive. Hey, that's a big deal as well. That's about a $15 million or $13 million difference between 32 and 45. That's a big deal. If they do a non-exclusive, they're pretty much saying, hey, Lamar, you could test the market, see what the market says for you. And then if you want to, if you get a deal that you like, maybe we'll match it or maybe we'll take the picks. I don't know, right? They go the exclusive route. Honestly, I don't see how there's a way that the Ravens and Lamar Jackson can really have the exclusive tag stay. Be quite honest with you. With $46 million, The Ravens only have $25 million in cap space. If he's to sign that exclusive deal and they don't get a contract done after that, I'm thinking he's getting traded. I'm being 100% honest with you, because it's going to make the Ravens having any kind of offseason or things that they want to do, wide receiver, cornerback, whatever, difficult. And Lamar deserves all this money, so please don't take it as Lamar needs to take a team-friendly deal. Hell no. Get your money. The Ravens messed up by not signing him years ago. So I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying from a purely financial standpoint, signing Lamar Jackson to the exclusive franchise tag, it's going to be very, very difficult to make anything happen in free agency. So we just got to be honest about that when we look at that as Ravens fans. They said they got 4 to 6 deals in place. Not deals, sorry. Plans in place around Lamar Jackson, whatever happens. So that's a lot of plans. He believes Lamar Jackson is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Also, he said that there is no outside noise. Negotiations are between him and Lamar Jackson. That's it. There are no outside noise. So pretty much, once again, this is, sometimes you got to read between the lines. That's about the NFLPA, right? I'm not negotiating with the NFLPA. I don't care what they're saying, because another report came out today where the NFLPA is pushing for Lamar Jackson to be the guy that sets it in stone for the guaranteed contracts, right? They're not messing with Herbert. They're not messing with Burrow. They're not messing with Hurts. They're putting on Lamar Jackson to, I think the comment said to make a stand. So they're putting it on Lamar, right or wrong, whether you believe that report or not. Like I said, I already take everything where it comes to the reports with a grain of salt. I believe that came from Diana Rossini. Now, she's been more on point. She's the one that, had about Lamar. I think it was, like I said in the last video, right before the Jets game or right after the Jets game, asked him about the contract that he reportedly turned down, which was between like $160 and $180 million guaranteed on like $250 million contract, right? So her reports have been more in line with, I guess, the truth, if you want to say it like that, right? So yeah, like that's pretty much what I got from EDC as far as Lamar. The negotiations between him and Lamar Jackson. No outside pieces, no outside noise. Now on the Ravens side, I don't all the way believe that. Now I believe him and Lamar are negotiating, but you cannot tell me Steve Bisciotti is not heavily involved, right? Steve Bisciotti has been adamant about not giving these guys fully guaranteed deals. He hated what the Browns did with Deshaun Watson. He made that publicly known. He didn't hide that. That wasn't something that, you had to read between the lines. No, he said it out loud. So when I see these negotiations, I look at Decosta and say, hey, look, he's probably doing the best he can. And I'm not giving him no excuse. So don't take it as that either. But you have an owner who says, hey, look, man, this is the highest we will go. You make a deal work within that parameter. And now Decosta got to go back to Lamar and say, hey, look, this is what we can do, right? Eric Decosta is far from a perfect GM. But I do believe in this situation, his hands are tied by the owner not want to mess up the good old boys club with the NFL owners and be the next guy to get a fully guaranteed deal. That's just my opinion on it, all right? Now, EDC did say some other things I thought was interesting. He talked about the draft. Obviously, he wants to have a lot of picks. But the thing that I think I caught a lot of people's eyes was about the draft is he says that the Ravens will keep taking swings at wide receiver. And they asked him about, well, why haven't you guys been able to nail it? He says, if I knew, we would probably have better receivers by now. That was a tough comment. But it was honest. It was brutally honest. Now, he has taken a lot of receivers, but you got to take higher end talent. Like, he's taken Bateman and Marquise. To me, they're both hits. You can say what you want about Hollywood Brown. He showed up in the playoffs. That one season, 2021, he had a bad drop problem. He did. But he was a really, really good draft pick. He was a good Ravens receiver for multiple years. That's just my opinion, all right? And Bateman, he has shown the talent, right? So if you had 2 high first-round guys that you took, right, and they both shown the talent, they both shown to be good receivers in the NFL, and even in limited action for Bateman. The next wide receivers you took are a 3rd round and beyond, right? Listen, I've been... Before the season, I like James Prochet and Tylan Wallace and guys like that. But depending on 4th and 6th round receivers to hit and saying that we took receivers, it's not a real strategy. You need to take guys in the 1st, 2nd round. So that means at 22, receiver. All right. He mentioned that there are 5 to 6 first round wide receivers in this draft class. I like to hear that, because then that makes me think you're looking at a Zay Flowers, Addison, JSN. We know the guys' names by now. We've said it, how many times by now. We know their names. So I like that part. I want to hear about that. Oh, also Harbaugh and EDC both mentioned, like I said, both mentioned Rashad Bateman by name as like, hey, we think this guy's a good player. So if I'm any other receiver on the Ravens, I'm thinking that the whole room's going to be redone, and I might not be back because he's not mentioning really. They're not mentioning really any other guys. It's really just Bateman, and that's Duvernay included. Like they're not mentioning guys like Duvernay. They're just mentioning Rashad Bateman as like, yeah, we're excited to see him back from his injury. We think we got a really good player right there. So I think that's good news for Ravens fans. We will see a redone wide receiver room. Now, it depends on how much money they got, how well the rebuild will be done, but we shall see. Also, he mentioned that he's open to trading up for a second-round pick because the Ravens don't have one because of Roquan Smith. And they like this cornerback class. They do like this cornerback class. They said that this cornerback class has a lot of Chris McAllister-type corners in it. Big, long, physical corners. So, I like that. Ravens... Chris McAllister had a really good career with the Ravens. Physical press corner. Remember when I watching him when I was younger, just mud guys to the line of scrimmage. So, the Ravens are looking at corners, are looking at wide receivers, the two positions that everybody knows that they need. And, Decosta said that. So, we could take his combine press like we all do, with the grain of salt, say, hey, look, he's saying things in front of the camera, then doing things behind the scenes. But I can only go off of what he says, And so other things he mentioned. Only other thing he mentioned that was interesting was Justin Houston. That if they do sign Justin Houston, it'll be late on in the process, like maybe like in July, August type, because the last two times that they signed Justin Houston, that's how it's happened before in the past. So he did mention Marcus Peters. He loves Marcus Peters, but he's a free agent, so we'll see where it goes from there. But I thought Eric Decosta, he said something on the Lamar Jackson thing. Now they can't go all the way into specifics and contracts. He wouldn't do that. But I thought he was as honest as he could be. All right. And the Ravens need to find a way to get the deal done. Be quite honest with you. They messed the situation up. They've taken forever to do it. And now they're at a situation where their hands are tied. And they got to find a way to untie it, whether that's signing Lamar long term, whether that's making a deal happen, which would be the worst case scenario, in my opinion, because you can't just go back into the draft and say, hey, look, we're just going to draft another Lamar Jackson. It doesn't work like that. He's a one-on-one. A guy that really doesn't exist too often. So, in this draft, unless you're drafting one of those Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Anthony Richardson, I'm not interested in any other quarterbacks. I'm honestly, I'm not. So, Will Levis, please, no, I'm not interested. Okay, so, and Hendon Hooker's like 25 years old. I think he's gonna be a good quarterback, but he's almost as old as Lamar Jackson. So, if the Ravens don't get one of those top three guys, I'm really not interested in none of these quarterbacks in this draft. But hopefully the Ravens get a deal done with Lamar Jackson, sign him long term, and he's the Ravens' answer long term. But that's my thoughts on Eric Decosta and John Harbaugh's combine presses today. Let me know what you think. And once again, man, thank you guys for subscribing. And yeah, man, until next time, it's Gary Root, another Fan TV. I'm out.